Hello, 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 beautiful unicorns. How are you guys doing today on this beautiful Friday? It's Friday. Isn't that how a lot of people are expressing it nowadays? So today, as most of you have seen, I've posted it in a few of my different platforms, and so Fridays is going to be the Q&As. So that means you can come on and ask a question down below, or you can hop on the live with me, and you can ask a question live and I can answer it live. Or perhaps you might want to get a taste of coaching a little bit and you feel comfortable enough in sharing and asking the question that you want, or sharing what you're wanting help with for the benefit of everyone else that's watching. So today I will be going over quite a few questions that I have compiled over the years. And like I said, let's call them FAQs, frequently asked questions, because I get asked these questions, some of them on a daily basis. And I thought, why not just come on and do a live on it? And at the same time, post that on my website, put that all together, because that's the other thing that I started doing as well, putting together these FAQs and putting that on my website, so those that have the questions, I can direct them there and they can find the answer themselves, read the answer, or maybe even do their own research. Because one of the things that I believe is so many of us want our questions answered for us, but don't realize the value of finding the answer to the question on our own. Because there is a lot of value in finding the answer to the question. And some questions, I mean, they're very simple and straightforward, so there's really no need into doing the full entire research on it. Just ask and answer, right? So here I will answer a lot of those questions that have been asked that don't necessarily need to go into detail, but at the same time some do. So but I'll keep it short. So if you want to know more of what that question or that answer holds for that question, then highly encourage you to go check out my website, or you can go and do your own research on Google and find a bunch of different answers, and then you decide for yourself which one resonates with you best. So first, I wanted to also share that Rachel and I are actually planning on doing a free workshop for moms, and especially mompreneurs. And even if you're a mom and you have a regular 9-to-5 job, it's still going to be for you, because it's going to be a 2-day workshop. We're still kind of working out the little kinks, so it might be 2 or 3-day workshop, but we'll keep each day fairly short and reasonable, so that way we don't take too much of your time throughout the week. And we are planning doing it during the week as well. And it will be most likely in the first week of December, so that way you would have time to start implementing some of these things that you will come up with on your own through our help during the workshop. There will be some times where you will be doing things, and times when you will be listening and paying attention to what we will be presenting to you. So that's one of the things that I wanted to mention. And the way that I would so far explain of what the workshop would be about, and again, don't quote me on this because we just started putting these pieces together and it might change, but essentially it will come down to this: mom is the gardener and the child is the garden. And in order for the garden to be cared for, the gardener needs to care for themselves, right? So because this becomes a cycle, and whatever the mother does or doesn't do, the child still learns. And there's a lot of talks right now about people wanting to live a sustainable life, living off land, not needing anyone else. And this is where this phrase came to me, like the mother is the gardener and the child is the garden, because as a mother, I would love nothing more than raising my child in a way that the child will be self-sustaining. So raising a self-sustainable children, and generation, right? Because they are essentially our future, and they will be. All the kids that that are born, they are our future. It's just how it works. Children are the future. So that's one thing I wanted to quickly mention. And let's just hop on into the questions. Let me see, how do I want to go about it? Because there's quite a few, and don't mind me looking to the side because I have my laptop open with the questions. So one of the questions this is one of the very first questions that I asked before looking into coaching, and a lot of people have asked me as well. What's the difference between hiring a certified coach and an uncertified coach? And without me going into too much of detail, like I mentioned, I'll keep it fairly short. This is how I'll explain it to you. So, uncertified coach can do, there's no rules. There's no rules, there's no guidelines, there's no ethics. There's no core competencies that they follow. So that's why you might notice that a lot of people actually add the word coach to their titles, so they can actually what it's called, like riding the wave of coaching. So there's a lot of that going on. And I noticed that, and I saw that before I went for training, and because I could not do that, and that's why I didn't even want to get any clients before I was certified, because I'm one of those people that believes there's value in coaching, and I don't want to say there's a wrong and a right way of coaching, because even an uncertified coach brings a lot to the table, because they've gone through the experiences, they've gone through everything themselves, and they teach you based on their life experiences. Whereas a certified coach, they have certain rules that they abide to, that they need to follow. There's core competencies that they need to follow and stick to. There is a code of ethics that every certified coach goes through, and and on top of it all, they go through specific training program, specific school, because not every school is certified by the ICF, which is International Coach Federation. And again, like I said, I'm gonna keep it short, because if you want, you can go and check that out on my website. The question is, is it important to hire a certified coach? I'm just gonna rephrase it, but you decide for yourself. At the end of the day, you decide for yourself, and I always encourage everyone to do their research on the individual that they are planning on hiring. So in other words, before you decide who your doctor is going to be, you want to know who the doctor is, and if they're actually going to fit with you and with your style, with your lifestyle. And if they don't, you're going to go and find another doctor. So I'm not saying that coaches are doctors, because they're not. But essentially it is very quickly becoming an essential service as well. So let's go to the next one. Like I said, I'll keep it short because you can read all of that in there. I'm just really summarizing. So the other question that I get asked every time I mention my my title, which is Certified Professional Core Energy Coach. And everyone always questions, what does this core mean? What is this core energy? And the simplest and shortest explanation is core means heart. So heart energy. Core energy coach helps you to go to the core, to your heart, and work through whatever it is that's in your heart. And what I have found in my practice is the connection between the heart and the head is essential. And most people don't have that connection. I did not have that connection between my heart and my head. And I felt so lost and confused because I felt entirely disconnected between life, work, and myself and children and everything. Like, I kid you not, I felt disconnected from existing. That's the way I can describe it. And in order for me to get to the place that I wanted to get to, I needed to figure that out. And that's where my journey has brought me to this training program. I've gone through hired a coach myself. I've gone through that. And then that's when I realized, this is what I want. This is what I'm doing. So I went for it and I did it. And I help others do the same, connecting with their heart and their head. Hey, Icy. Oh, I'm sorry you're having a rough day. A lot of people are right now. And I'd be curious to hear what is the main cause of this feeling that you're feeling and experiencing right now. Bringing awareness. That's what I help people do. Bringing awareness to the deeper issue at hand, because coaching is, especially core energy coaching, is an inside out approach, which is the opposite of a band-aid approach, because this is where the doctor and the coach is different. When you go to a doctor and they look at your chart and see what's wrong with you, as a coach, again, there's nothing wrong with you, right? A doctor will tell you that there's something wrong. A coach will not tell you there's anything wrong. They'll just help you make the connections of what you might be going through and where you might feel that disease, disbalance. And a doctor will prescribe you a solution. And 99% of the time, it is a quick band-aid fix, which does not help you deal with a deeper issue at hand, which is in the core, which is in the heart. This is where coaching comes in. So that's a quick explanation of core energy and what that means, because I get asked that all the time. And another way I explain that for people to understand is it's like this. You know, that stuff that doesn't feel comfortable and we don't want to deal with, and we just sweep it under the rug and say, I'll deal with it. Never. That's what I do. I help you to deal with that stuff now, so you can become aware of it, because that's essentially a block. So you can become aware of it, accept it. So awareness is the first step. Then you can accept it, and you can let go and heal from it. And typically that takes some time, as you can probably imagine, because it didn't happen overnight for you to get to where you are now. So you expecting to be healed and perfect. Again, perfection is an illusion, but being perfect overnight is also not going to happen. And then that is where conscious choice comes into place. And then you can take action on changing whatever is not serving you anymore. So everything you just said, my heart and my head are just all jumbled up. I feel so disconnected, discouraged, and just like, why? I hear you. And this is exactly what I have gone through, and everyone I have worked with and everyone that I'm still currently working with is recognizing themselves that disconnection, that disconnect happens, and it does happen in the earlier years. We're just catching up with it now and realizing that we just don't feel connected to ourselves. Quite often, one of the biggest things I've noticed is an ability to describe who I am to a person. I know who I am now, but it has taken me some time to get here. So when I say that because this is what I notice with my clients and people that I talk with, that they are not aware of who they are because of that disconnect. But once they uncover who they are at the core, that connection comes back, and we're able to enjoy life. And I have a feeling, I see that joy might be a rare visitor in your life, and that is because of the disconnect. That is something that I have noticed, the patterns that I've noticed in people and in myself as well. But once the connection happens and you get to know who you truly are and embrace yourself, because knowing who you are is just one side of the stone. I say stone because I have this, right? I have the stone that says, one side says problem and the other one says solution. So knowing the problem is just half of the battle. So knowing who you are is just one side of the coin, one side of the stone, and then knowing what to do with it and how you can live authentically as yourself, that's the other side. And that is where coaching truly comes into place. So the next thing I have on here, I'm considering hiring a one-on-one coach. Where do I start? That you can check out with on my website, but short form, have a conversation, get to know who your coach is, who you're planning on hiring, who they are, and most importantly, if you guys vibe. That's the way I would describe it, because it's like, I know a lot of people have gone to therapy, and I hear this very often, that it's not doing anything for me. Quite often it's because you're not the right fit, right? We cannot take ourselves and fit ourselves into any kind of situation. There's going to be situations and places and people where we don't fit. So making sure that the coach fits with you and you fit with the coach, it's like a puzzle, right? And you're vibing and you're speaking the same language, or maybe not exactly the same language, but they might be a little bit more ahead of you and they can help you to get to where they are. So that way then you can go on your own and you can prosper, right? And then the next question is like, what's the difference between therapy, counseling, and coaching? And as we were talking about this, one of the patterns I've noticed with therapists is that in a way, they try to keep you on as the patient for as long as they can. A coach tries to keep you on as the client for as short of a period as they can. Because a coach knows that you have all the answers and they want to empower you with yourself and help you to feel empowered with who you are. So that way they do not need to hold your hand, so you can go off on your own and be a self-sufficient, self-sustaining human being. And it is bittersweet for the coach and the client when we say goodbye. I know I've cried with my clients when I can see that they no longer need me because they are just incredible and doing everything on their own. And it is bittersweet, but I absolutely love it because now I have space for another one and I can help another one do the same thing. So Icy says, I'm struggling. I thought I knew who I was. Then bam, kids, adulting, and my relationship is just feels like I have a heavy weighted a blanket over me. When there's a lot happening in our life, because it sounds like there's a lot of things happen in your life and it's like bam, all at once. Everything just shifted, changed, and it sounds like you have lost all sense of who you are. That sounds like evolution. What does that mean to you? I'm just gonna leave you there, and let you think about that word evolution. This is a little bit, this is how I do my coaching as well. There's a word that comes through, and I know I can say more and I can explain, but I want you to think about and explain it, because what it means to me might not mean the same thing to you. I currently don't see anyone I listen to personal development videos. That is a really great thing that you can do. That's how I started as well. I did therapy, not for me. I tried a couple of therapists and it was not for me. It was just that's not the approach that I like, right? So that's the other difference between counseling and therapy. And I'll go into a little bit more in description, but in keeping with what you're saying, is personal development and personal growth, they have a few of differences, and the biggest difference that stands out to me is personal development is the first step to personal growth. And when you learn something, what do you do with it? Because that's where the growth happens. Growth happens in the action. Learning is one side and an action is the other side. So I want to ask, what did you learn? So for, let's say, the last personal development video that you watched, what did you learn from that video, and what did you implement and take action on? Because those two go hand in hand, personal development and personal growth. So we can spend a lot of time in personal development, but if we're not taking action and doing anything about it, that change, that shift, that feeling good while we're learning something is not going to be permanent. And this right there is also a great way to kind of lead into the difference between therapy and coaching, because in coaching, a coach helps you to develop that plan and helps you to come up with that plan of what are you going to do now. So that's great awareness. What are you going to do with it now? And let's come up with a plan, and an attainable plan, without creating a massive list of goals. Really just one thing that you're going to do today after the conversation, right? So that's what you can do as well. Come up with one thing that you're going to do today after watching the personal development video. After watching this video right here, what is one thing that you're going to walk away with and implement and do something? Whereas with therapy, in my experience and the experience of those that I've had conversations with as well, is there's not very much implementation taking place. It's a lot of talking, but not a lot of doing. But the doing, that is the key to success. Okay, one of my favorite quotes that I found, and I put, there was no author of it. I just found it online and I put it on my website as well, because I thought, like, that is a great way of describing what a coach is. And this is the quote: "Behind every fearless entrepreneur is a fearless coach who refuses to let them be anything but the best they can be." In other words, a coach is one of the best accountability partners that you can have, because especially, and this is also the difference between certified coach and uncertified coach. A certified coach has certain flow to the session, certain ways of making sure that you are fully heard, understood, and that the relationship is sacred. That's how I can really describe in my experience, and I've connected and communicated with many coaches, certified and uncertified, and that is the difference that I notice. Listening, it takes a trained ear to help you see what the block might be, and most importantly, to connect the dots of how this is showing up in your life in different areas and the patterns, because the blocks that we experience with one thing, it's never just in one thing. It shows up in our life in different areas. So connecting those dots takes a trained ear. And there are many great uncertified coaches that are able to do that. So don't get me wrong, I'm not here bashing people that are doing it without official training. But I am here to encourage everyone to look towards hiring and getting a person who is trained and certified. Another like example, it's like, I'm not gonna go and ask my I'm not gonna go and ask my vet to perform heart surgery on me. I'm gonna go and ask a heart surgeon to perform heart surgery on me, right? I'm gonna go and ask the professional in this specific area, in this niche, to help me. You're not gonna go and so today when Rachel and I were talking, I said, I'm not gonna go and hire a shaman coach to help me build my business, right? So that also goes back to making sure that whatever the coach is offering aligns with you, with where you are and where you want to go. And that's why understanding who your coach is and following them and learning about them is going to be very helpful. So I don't want to be going for too long, keeping you guys on here. So you can go, like I said, you can check out my website to see the frequently asked questions. They will be uploaded as I go onto the website. And then the other question that I get asked very, very, very often: how long do clients typically work with a coach? So there is no answer that fits everyone. And my answer to that is it entirely depends on the client. Some clients, the results with the coach, especially when the fit is right, can be felt within a month, within the first, even the second session. You can feel the difference and you know the difference. But I don't take clients for less than 3 months. The minimum is 3 months commitment, because any change takes time to implement and take shape. Any actions that you put into place today will take some time to give you the reward that you're looking for. So typically, I can work with a client anywhere between 3 months to 12 months to 18 months. Like I said, it entirely depends on the individual and what it is that they're trying to achieve and create in their life. So there is no quick fix. Band-Aid does not work. We know that, right? If you have a gashing wound, right, and you see everything in your, like I can't see my arm. So if you have a gashing wound in your arm, you're not going to put a Band-Aid on it. You're going to go to a professional to help you fix that up properly, and you're going to take care of that wound on your own, right? With the professional helping you once in a while to make sure that you're doing a good job and tell you that you're doing a good job. That's essentially, again, not essentially, but this in the way speaks of coaching as well. So difference between coaching and consulting as well. So how do I explain this in the shortest way possible? Consulting. So when you hire a consultant, they come in, they analyze what's wrong, and they tell you what you need to do, or they do it for you. It's done. A coach helps you to uncover what's wrong, helps you decide what you're going to do about it, helps you to put a plan together, and keeps you accountable to that plan and making sure that you are on track with achieving that plan, that goal, that desired outcome that you want. And one is a short fix, which is the consulting, and one is a long-term solution. One is a Band-Aid, the other one is a permanent fix. the since I like to talk about moms and children, if we do everything for our children, we're taking away their education from them, something that they can learn from and will help them grow. Counseling is kind of like that, where you as a parent come in, do the homework for your child, said good, you passed, awesome, great, perfect. And then how can you repeat that afterwards? You can't, because it's done for you. So you'll have to continue, keep going and going and going back to the counseling. So that's the difference. Based on my experience, I can also do counseling as well, but I don't do it in my coaching session unless it is asked, and the transition is fairly clear, because then it's like, okay, I'm going to take my coaching hat off, and now I can help you with just pure advice. But a counselor can also hold attachment to that advice, whereas a coach does not. I tell you, whatever you do with it is completely up to you. And I don't even need to go back and ask, what did you do with my advice? Because it's completely up to you, right? And this is where friends are really good with that, where they tell you advice and tell you what to do. It's like, you're not doing anything about it. Why? That's because I didn't come up with it on my own. So I'm not going to do it. We're all children and we're all rebellious. We do not want to be told what to do, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't like being told what to do. And when somebody tells me what to do, quite often, I don't want to do it because you told me what to do, right? I know what I need to do. And especially as a certified coach, I know, and I feel that and I see that every single day in just any human interaction. So there's that. Is coaching for me? I mean, this right here, hopefully that helps you decide. If not, Google it or check out my site. So I'm not gonna go through all of these questions on here, because then it goes into the program that I offer, the Law of Being. If you want to check that out, you can check that out on the website. There's more than enough information on there. Some of you are already familiar with it as well, whether you've gone through it or you've heard me talk about it. But what I will do is there are 2 questions that I have written on here that I have been asked since I did the post. And here's one. Lately, all I want to do is cry. And I don't know what's happening and I don't know what to do. So here's my counselor hat coming on. Been there, done that. And if you keep holding on to that energy, it is going to drain you. That energy needs to be released. You have been given a beautiful gift of release. Crying is a huge release. You know what you need to do that's going to help you to release everything. For me, and I've experienced it this week, I used to experience this on a daily basis, and now these experiences are so rare that I cherish and value them because I get to learn so much, and it's a beautiful reminder for me to take stock of where I am and where I was and where I'm going. So for me, music and dance. I put my Bluetooth headphones on, so I tune out the world, my house, the world. I tune out the world, and I don't blast it all the way up because I still want to be able to hear my thoughts, because I'm not trying to drown out my thoughts. I'm trying to hear my thoughts. So I take the time to listen, move, and dance. And just through moving, within the first few seconds, I collapse to the ground and cry like a freaking baby. And I kid you not, I cry like a baby. And I say it without no shame whatsoever. I say it proudly because I understand the beautiful gift of release, of crying, and I could not live without it. I could not. And it's so important. And I hear this also from men as well, where men have a lot of guilt and shame when it comes to crying, and they don't know who to talk to about it because they've been told that it's not okay. Stop crying. You're a man. Be a man. Men is not supposed to cry. Toughen up. And women hear that as well, right? Women are supposed to be tough. You're supposed to carry the world, the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're not supposed to. It's not your job. Your job is to be you, and that's it. And to allow the world to see your gifts and share your gifts with the world. That's your job as a human being. Man, female, doesn't matter. We're all the same. We're all one at the end of the day. But crying is important. Don't hold on to it. Release it. Let it go. And in releasing that, do your best not to feel bad about it. I know it might take a little bit of time reconditioning yourself, but seeing that as a healing on its own. Because in releasing this block, by listening, and this is why I don't drown out my thoughts with loud music, because I want to hear my thoughts. I want to understand what is going on, why I feel like that. The thoughts, first it starts with the feeling for me, right? Some people, it starts with a thought and then the feeling comes. For me, it's a feeling, and then I work through the feeling and understand what thoughts are going on, where it's coming from. And a lot of the times it's not even mine. It's not even my feelings and emotions. It's those around me or of the world, where something tragic is happening on the other side of the world, because we are all connected. So I recognize, and then I also recognize that quite often what happens is we go through our days asking questions. We ask a question, sometimes quite often it's the same question over and over and over again, like a question, why? I know some of you will relate. That's what I went through. Why am I going through this? Why am I feeling like this? Why? And then we busy ourselves with our life and don't pause to hear the answer. Because when we ask a question, the answer is given to us. It is provided. We just are too busy not hearing it, not listening to it. So then we find ourselves in this heavy state where we are forced to quite literally kneel down or drop down and hear that answer. That's the other thing. So, which brings me to the next question, because they are connected. I keep waking up at night and can't sleep. I take naps and feel very anxious and guilty when I am awake, feeling like I will never sleep again. I'm tired all the time. Can you tell me what's happening? I can't tell anyone what's happening, but I can guide you in a different direction of so for this individual specifically, this individual has been doing meditation, right? Raising her spirituality, working on her spiritual self, trying to connect with her spiritual side, and in doing so, again, also asking questions, but not taking the time to hear the answer. So sometimes it comes to us in the form of feeling in the heaviness, through anxiety, through depression, through panic attacks, through sadness, through tears, through physical pain in our body. And then the other side, especially if you are trying to work on connecting with your spiritual side or reconnect with your spiritual side, because you are spiritual, you were born spiritual, it's just a fact. Watch any child, right? All they are is spiritual. And what happens is when you're trying to connect with your spiritual side, reconnect with your spiritual side, part of that is connecting to spirit guides, angels, I can't remember the other names and titles right at the moment, but you're connecting to the spiritual world, spiritual realm. so to speak, and they cannot give you the answers during the daytime when everything is so loud, when you cannot hear. So they might wake you up in the middle of the night between the hours of 3 in the morning and 5 in the morning. This was also happening to me when I was reconnecting to my spiritual side. And quite often people find themselves, I don't want to, all I want to do is sleep, I'm tired and exhausted. But if you've been asking a question and you can't hear throughout the day, they will try to connect and communicate with you in the nighttime when you can actually hear. So what I can suggest in that time is sit down and listen. Sit down and listen and take the self-pity out of it. It was difficult for me, and I know I say it like it's nothing, but it's not nothing. It's a huge part, and it's painful and it's difficult, and I know because I cried and I resisted, and it's like, why me? I just want to sleep. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I'm just so tired, just pardon my language, but shut up and go away. I just want to go to sleep. Until I finally sat down and said, you know what? Fine, I will listen. I sat down, put my headphones on, and listened to a meditation that helped me to hear. And long story short, this is how Empath Unicorn Academy was created. My why answers were being answered. And it's rarely when we when we're ready to hear the answer, because it's usually in the times when it's like the least convenient. Just like children, right? You're on the phone and you're in a session with a client. For me, quite often when they were home, I'd be in a session with a client, and it's right in that perfect time when they are going through something and they're responding, and it's finally making sense that the child comes and takes the attention away, and it's like, always in the wrong time. So yes, I see. What meditation? I don't remember exactly which one, and even the one that I did might not be helpful to you. All I can say right now is, you know which one. You will know which one. Go to YouTube. So if you're going through this and you wake up, whether you have a partner sleeping beside you or not, put headphones on. You can turn your phone to dim, so that way it's not so bright, so it doesn't wake you up, because at the same time you don't want to be fully woken up, and that's why when going to the bathroom at night, also the light should be off, because otherwise it'll be going back into the sleeping cycle. So anyways, open your YouTube, low light, put the headphones in, and the first thoughts that come to mind, type that in, ending with meditation, whether it's a word or a couple of words or a sentence, and meditation, and guarantee you'll find something. And just look at them, and the one that you feel like this is the one, click on it. Don't hesitate, just click on it. Even if it's 3 hours long, click on it and listen, because what might happen is you might start listening to it, hear those answers, and once you hear them, that's another form of release. You just relax and all the tension goes away, and you go to sleep, and it will be the best sleep ever. It was for me, at least. Now, I'm also not saying it's going to happen overnight, in a sense of I got woken up a couple of more times. In total, it was twice that I listened to a meditation at night, and then afterwards, that's it. I was not woken up at night anymore. I would sleep through the night, no problems, nothing. And so it might take a little bit of time to hear it, because depending on how long you've been trying to, how long you've been asking the questions for, right? But at the same time, you can take notes, which will be helpful, because for me personally, My anxiety would kick in when I would start thinking I will forget in the morning. So I would take notes just so I can remember, and then in the morning sometimes it wouldn't make sense. So again, I sometimes would meditate on that as well, and then it would make sense, and it just expands that much further. You're most welcome, Icy. I'm glad I was able to help you to pick yourself up. I wake up every night, so I am definitely curious, and I have the craziest dreams. That's the other thing. Dreams. Oh my God, I'm glad you mentioned dreams. My dreams is so. For a time there, when I was going through really, really dark place in my life, you're more than welcome to go and read my story if you haven't read it already on my website. It took me some time to put it together, and it was so difficult to put it into words. It took me over a week to put my story together and to keep it as short as I can. But I remember not dreaming. And then I remember when I started my healing journey, I would have these crazy dreams. And I also remember that as a child, my mom would always tell me that dreams have meanings. So I started looking into the meanings of dreams. I have it's a dream dictionary website, but I have it saved on my phone that I go to every time. Like, for example, last night, this morning I woke up and I'm like, I dreamt of a crocodile. Right, and the first thing that we dream of a crocodile swimming among people, and people are not even faced by this crocodile swimming between them. And then I was feeding this crocodile, and I was even scared of it, thinking this must be a bad dream. And what I recognized is as I was reading the description and understanding what it meant to me, that it's actually very empowering. That there is a lot, I forgot how it went, but it's basically that there's a lot of gifts and abilities that I have that I'm uncovering, that I'm bringing to the world, type of thing, which is exactly where I am at on my journey. So looking into the meanings of dreams, especially when there's something stands out to you the most in a dream. I remember dreaming of a white cat, 2 huge white cats. So that had a lot of meaning to it. So message me, remind me to send you if I can share that dictionary with you, or you can also go and Google dream dictionaries and see which one resonates with you the most, because there are quite a few. But dreams do have meanings. There's certain things that stand out to you in the dream, and we do forget our dreams. So what I do when I have these crazy dreams in the morning, I sit down and I type it up quickly in my, I have OneNote on my phone, so I type it up in there, what my dream was, and then before I forget, and then I go and I start reading of the meaning of certain things within that dream, and then more comes to me, and and then I would just copy paste and put it in there for myself, certain parts that mean something, and explain of what it actually means to me, so that way I can understand it. Dream journaling, that's what I call it. Because in working through and understanding what each part of that dream means, and which part of the explanation, what it means to me in this specific time of my life, one day might be helpful to me, because next time I dream of a crocodile, it might mean something different to me than it does now. But based on where I am right now and the questions that I have been asking, I have these answers that are given to me through dreams as well. So that's the other side. So I know I've been going for a little bit here. So I will end it now. Hopefully this was helpful to I know to Icy it's been helpful because you've been on here, but to everyone else that is watching and will be watching, I would love to hear your biggest takeaway. I know a lot was said, but at the end of it all, what is your biggest takeaway from this video today? And what are you going to do with it? Right? Because with that takeaway, there's typically something that you can do with it. So let me know what the biggest takeaway is, and what are you going to do about it today? Anyways, thank you, everyone. And I look forward to our next Friday video of Q&As. I'm sure by then I'll have a lot more questions that people will be asking me, and I'll have them answered then. And if you have questions that you want to ask me live, you can join me live next Friday. I'll be doing these videos every Friday at 1:30 in the afternoon Eastern time. And even if you want to hop on live and have the experience of a live video, we can do that as well. So let me know. And until then, bye, ladies and gentlemen. I know there's some men in here as well. Until next time, bye. Thanks for watching.